this week's episode of Bruffy's UAE Rugby Wrap. We had two massive semi-finals, the UAE Premiership and Division 2 final has been played. We've also had the women's game, the women's 15, where one team make it to the finals. Tune in to find out more.
Ready for the rumble, keep your eye on the prize. Sweat on your brow, hear the roar of the skies. Stomping in the dirt, feel the thunder shake ground. Rally at the front, we gonna take the crown.
Okay, welcome to this week's episode of Bruffy's UAE Rugby Wrap. I am Big Al Bruffy, your host, and happy to be here. Welcome to the show. This week we have had a few big games. We're going to start off with the Friday night's fixture. We had the Hurricane Exiles combination of women, the Xanes, the Xanes, versus the Al Maha Phoenix and Shark combo, the Al Farks. And that was a 4-1 affair in favour of the Xanes. So they will be heading off to the finals next week to play against the undefeated Quins ladies. They'll be looking to seek out revenge. Quins will be trying to stop that, hoping they can continue their success throughout the season. That will be on the RCC YouTube channel on Friday, so you can tune into that one, watch it live, and see how the girls' final in the 15s ends up. All right, the second game we had this weekend, we'll talk about the Div 2 fixture first. The UAE Shaheen played the Hurricanes thirds in the Div 2 final. Now, this was moved forward a week due to some internationals. So it's not happening on the finals day like everything else, but they've gone about their business, and the UAE Shaheen continued their undefeated streak. The Hurricanes put up a good effort. They knew they had to keep the ball in the forwards, did a lot of work in there, but I think there was at least 4 80-metre tries from Shaheen, their backline, and a few of those professional playing boys made a huge difference to their squad, and they were able to dominate and keep it going. I was speaking to one of the players post-game. He's like, one of the Hurricanes players, he's like, it's not every day you win every line out, dominate every scrum, and absolutely get blitzed off the park. So that score was 64-31. A lot of tries to be had, and that was on the RCC channel. Grant Goes was commentating that from the FFP Sports as he hosts and commentates that. Over the other side of sevens was the UAE Premiership final, but we'll talk about the other game first. So Bahrain hosted the first semi-final for the West Asia Premiership. They, being fourth, got to host Quins at home. The Quins started out early, getting a nice try and then a penalty. We're leading 8-0. Bahrain came back with a 7-pointer of their own, banking off a good Quins mistake there. So really good hustle from them. Then Quins came away with a couple of penalties to edge out the half, 14-7. And things were looking pretty good for the Quins. But Bahrain, well, they know how to win, and they did it again. They scored a couple of tries just after half-time, pushing that lead out. So they drew level pretty quick and went up to 19-14. A couple of big tries there from the boys. A massive pushover maul try. I think went about 20 meters at one stage. It was very impressive, and guys stood up early on in the first half. A couple of yellow cards. I think their stalwart number 8 and often hooker, Lindsay Gibson, he got a yellow for a high tackle early. And then Alec Morris got one as well. I couldn't quite see on the footage what had happened, but there was a Quins player laying on the ground. So they both had yellows in the first half. The second half, Bahrain's discipline got a lot better, and they managed to keep it in and get the win. Their scrum was a huge difference from 2 weeks ago. The Quins had dominated their scrum last time, but it was a much more even affair. So credit to them for doing work on that. They managed to get the win, and then Josh Drain kicked a beautiful, really quick fire little drop goal at the end to put the lead out to 8 points, meaning the Quins couldn't catch up. Quins had their chances, probably didn't make most of their opportunities, but it is been that kind of season for them. So their season is over now, and Bahrain are heading to the final. So they're both their Div 1 and Div and Premiership teams are playing in the final this coming weekend. So that'll be at Sevens. You can see both games on the RCC YouTube there. So presented by FFP Sports. That'll be really cool. So they'll be very happy, both ones and twos in their final. And now we will move on to the other game. We had the UAE Premiership final. Now, at the start of the season, I didn't think there was going to be one. I thought it was just the West Asia Premiership. But somewhere in the season, there was a decision made by the powers that be that the UAE was going to have its own, and it was going to be the top two UAE teams. It turned out that because Exiles had finished second and Hurricanes finished third, they turned the semi into the final as well. So it was both the semi-final for West Asia Premiership, but the final for the UAE Premiership. And it was a big game. The Exiles came out hot and heavy to start with. They scored a couple of maul tries. Their big boys were getting over, and it looked like it was going to be a very tough afternoon for the Hurricanes. At one stage, the Exiles, I think, were 26-7 up, but the boys started looking a bit tired. They definitely were missing Dwayne Oholele today because their scrum wasn't as potent as it normally is. Penalties went both ways, but the Hurricanes were definitely standing up to it, so it wasn't the weapon that it normally is. But they Exiles managed to get a few tries, and then Munib got a double. Apelli got a back of a maul try, so that was good. They looked very good early, but they just didn't seem to have the stamina. It was about 38 degrees out in the field, so it was very warm, hottest game of the season so far, and that tired their big boys out. They looked a bit slow, and the replacements didn't make a difference, and that's when the Hurricanes backline started to play their part. Now, there was a little mistake by the Exiles, and Andre Gerber and Dom Williams managed to make some meters and then Andre Gerber had a great little individual, little grubber kick through. That's when he towed over the top of the next guy, and a little bobble at the end, but with his feet, but then managed to sit on it right in the end zone. So that was a good try from him off a good counter-attack play. And then Martin Manguiro did the same thing a really short time after when he charged down a kick. Hands up D, as they said, the good pressure on the kick, and he was too fast. He had a great bounce, picked it up and ran about 40 meters with the ball. So that got them back in the game. They're only 5 points down. Then Exiles got a penalty to make it out to 9 points. But the Hurricanes couldn't be stopped. Big number 11, I think, Don Williams. He made another really good break down the field. Should have been a little bit more trouble for the Exiles as they took out Martin off the ball in a scoring opportunity, but that was missed. But then the Exiles managed to give away about 3 advantages, penalties, all in one spot. Sorry, I've messed up there. But after Dom's effort, Ruben Steenkamp managed a little individual pop over the top of the ruck, like come through the side twist. He got the ball down. That was converted, so that put it within 2 points. It was 29-27. And then there was another break made by Adzo and by Dubois and Williams. They managed to get the ball down. A few penalties mounting up, but then Andre Gerber stepped up to kick it. I thought there was a few minutes left in the game, but that was it. The next time the Hurricanes got it, they managed to secure a bit of possession and kick it out, giving them a 1 point lead. I think they led for about 2 minutes of the entire game, which was the last 2 minutes. So well done to them. They are the UAE Premiership champions. So really good job for them. Their backline really came through at the end. But their forward pack managed to stop the Exiles doing what they normally do by powering over people, especially in that second half. So credit to them, credit to their whole team and their coaches. So they've won the UAE Premiership. However, as much as they were celebrating, the job is not done. They have to face Bahrain at the Sevens next week in the final. So in the UAE final, we'll have Bahrain. In the West Asia Premiership final, we have Bahrain playing against the Hurricanes, and it should be a good game. Like all the teams, probably the top five teams this season, all on their day, are capable of winning. Bahrain's managed to get out of jail a few games this season, but they just know how to win. Hurricanes, after getting beaten by Quins a couple of weeks ago, they've managed to fight their way back into contention, beating the Exiles, who they hadn't beaten this season. So they are definitely not without a shot. Their back line is looking very good. There's a Kiwi 13, I think. He was very good and loved getting into the bit of the handbags and stuff as well. So he was a very good player. So that's what we have. That's a wrap up of this week's stuff. We'll look at that's our favorite segment now. Let's get into oh, that's awesome and that's pretty rough.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh no, that's pretty rough. Come on.
All right, for that, that's awesome. Obviously, the Hurricanes get a shout out. They scored a last minute penalty to win the game. They hadn't beaten the Exiles all season, so they get that's pretty awesome. Bahrain 13 from 13. It's also very awesome. And UAE Shaheen have won all their games all season. They are undefeated, scoring I think at least 50 points in every game. So they have been magnificent, and they'll be going up to Div 1. That's rough. Poor Gibbo from Bahrain and Alan Morris mentioned they got yellow cards. It was silly. Justin Walsh also got a yellow in the Exiles match for a little slap down. So yeah, not what you need on days like this. You want to keep all your players on the park, but both teams, well, Bahrain managed to survive Exiles. It didn't cost them at the time, but may have later. So that's awesome, and this is rough.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh no, that's pretty rough. Come on.
Okay, now there was a bit of contention in the UAE or in the Bruffies rugby 15. I put up a few players from each position who I thought had pretty good seasons. They'd started most of the games. They were there, or they were really important in their positions across the park. But what happened was it was a popularity contest. You guys got to vote, so the votes went up, the votes counted, and those were the named 15. And while I was talking to a couple of people, I thought it'd be really cool to have like an all-star game. So like the voted on 15 versus a select 15. So I'll get maybe get into have a conversation with maybe Apollo, Matt Bourne from the RCC, get one of the refs in, maybe Alex from Yalla and Grant Ghost from FFP. We'll get together and pick an opposing 15 and then maybe have an all-star game. I think that'd be a really cool concept. Help build. Now, I understand the trouble with that, with guys from Bahrain and Doha making that squad. So obviously there's hiccups in there, but it'd be a really cool way maybe to break up the season, possibly that first game in January, or just maybe straight after sevens while guys are in town, if they can manage it. Have a 15s game just to keep the game building and get a bit of footage around that. I think that'd be a really cool idea. But well done to all those guys who did win their votes and get selected. It's just something I'm trying out. It's just an idea. As I said, I sit here in my kids' room filming a podcast each week. I watch as much rugby as I can. It's just me. I do all the socials. I do everything just by myself. The help I get is from the refs. Normally, they give me some scores as so I can put them out. But it is just me here on my couch doing what I can for the love of rugby. So we'll keep that going. We've got a big week coming up with the finals week. So there's some huge games to look forward to there. We have there's juniors all day throughout the sevens, but then we've got the Div 1 final. and that will be Bahrain versus Tigers. They were, I think, fifth and sixth on the ladder, or sixth and seventh. So that will be a big final taking place. And then the women's final with the Exanes and the Quins, they were playing. And then the men's West Asia Premiership final with Bahrain versus Hurricanes. So we've got some massive games there to look forward to. They will all be at sevens. You'll be able to catch all of them live on the UAE RCC channel. I'll be doing some commentating again. I've enjoyed that as well. Just another thing I'm doing for the love of the game, but bit of publicity for the podcast. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. Before I go, I also want to give a shout out to Johnny Harris from the Dragons. He's starting up a little organization called Buoys, as in Buoys, so the Buoys Club. And it's all about mental health and keeping each other afloat and not letting the boys sink with their feelings, like doing some events and looking at ways men can deal with mental health challenges, as it's quite a thing that we don't know how to deal with. So it's a really good initiative. So well done to him for that. So good luck with that. I know he's got a few events in Dubai coming up and may even come down to Abu Dhabi to talk, but shout out for him there. And that is really all I have for today. So we will see you next week. We'll do one more episode next week before, as the season ends, and wrap up the whole season. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and enjoy your day. Masalama.
Ready for the rumble, keep your eye on the prize. Sweat on your brow, hear the roar of the skies. Something in the dirt, feel the thunder shake ground. Riding at the front, we're gonna take the crown.